What's good? What's poppin'? It's your homie Tommy B, Bar CEO, here with an exclusive interview with none other than Venable. If you don't know who this motherfucker is, you stupid. Slap yourself right now. Fucking Venable's been doing this for a long time now, and he's been schooling MCs since the fucking dinosaurs. I want everyone to give a nice welcome to fucking Venable. Venable, what's good, homie?
Yo, Tommy Bland, my man, Bars fam, what's up? This is Venable, and please, listen to Tom, slap yourself. Whether you know me or whether you don't know me, still slap yourself. I would love that.
Yeah. See, this man's been doing it so long, man. Let's go through your accolades. Let's talk about all the shit you've been through. Like, let's talk about fucking where you've battled. Let's talk about, I know you won the 807 Battle League Championship. What's good on that? Let us know what exactly you've done over the past couple of years. Because a lot of people, man, when it comes to this internet shit, they don't fucking realize the hard work that it takes to actually go out and travel and do that backpack shit and go out there and fucking grind and hustle. You know, let the people know like where you've been and how long you've been doing this shit.
Well, I mean, before my first battle a few years ago, I was already doing my music, pushing the fuck out of my music. I'd record some shit, $20 in the studio, get hammered with the people there, record some other shit. And, I would really push my shit. I would tag everybody. And I was traveling around, that's just what I do anyways. So, if I was in your town, I'd be at the shows, I'd be tagging you, so people knew who I was as this annoying rapper guy that tags everybody. But then I also got into the King of the Dot, and I shared the fuck out of every battle that came out. I was a huge fan, and I was in Victoria, BC, the island off of Vancouver, and I had shared some battle. I think it was Pat Stay versus Head Ice. I think that was around the time when this guy hit me up. He says, "Hey, I noticed you love to rap, and you keep following King of the Dot. Would you be interested in coming to our league to do a battle to showcase your battle skills?" And at first, I was like, I don't know. Let me think about it. Let me marinate on that, because honestly, I was a huge fan of King of the Dot and acapella written battles, but I never actually thought that I had the capability to write shit like that or to perform shit like that. So I told him to just chill. Let me get back to him. And that moment, I actually left the apartment. I grabbed some beers and my pen, my pad, and I went down to the river. And I smoked and I drank and I sat there and I said, okay, well, let me just see if I can write this shit. And that dude that hit me up, we were supposed to go to the studio and do some other shit. We were supposed to meet in a couple hours, and I missed meeting him because I was there for like 4.5 hours writing rhymes and just enjoying the fuck out of the process of trying to write insults. And I kind of got addicted to the process, and then I agreed to take the battle. And, it was supposed to be like a little, first battle of the night sort of a deal. And it was, but it ended up being against one of the top rappers of the island at the time, this kid Zoner. He had a big song up with Confidential, and he kind of, everybody knew who he was. His videos were getting 2-3K at a time, right? And he was buzzing, but he never battled before. So I got him. So me, this nobody, went up against this somebody. And we were actually first filmed battle of the night. They had some freestyle shit going on before that or whatever. But they turned the cameras on when me and him went up. And at the end of our battle, and it ended up being like the biggest battle of the night and actually of the league's history. We totally killed everybody that performed after us. And then as the battle was released and stuff like that, it got more views than all the other battle leagues, all the other events that they had before us. And this is like volume 10. So we fucking murdered it that night, and that was my debut battle, and it was fucking sick, and that got me.
That's dope, man. Like you got to like the heavyweight right away, eh? So that pretty much like schooled you right there. You know what I mean? It kind of gave you like that push that you needed to get yourself up and going. On to next question. How long have you been in bars, and has bars helped you along the way in your path to actually do more live shit? Has it helped you anyway? If so, how? And what's your next plans? Like, what's your next battle? When's the next big one? Because I'm loving to see that.
Bars? I've been in bars for over 2 years. It's been a solid 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. I've already battled on King of the Dot 3 times by the time I got to bars. I believe I was in Windsor, Ontario at the time. And I was actually searching for a text battle rap group that I could, because I was going through a period of time where I just got to town. I didn't know what was up. I wasn't sure when my next battle would be, but I definitely had become accustomed to writing battle bars, and I wanted to keep writing, even though I didn't have a battle planned. So I figured if there was anybody on Facebook doing this shit, then that would be a great place for me to continue writing. And I actually did a search, and I found you guys like right away. I think it was the first name that came up, and I checked the group out. I got added to it, and like immediately, I found a place where I could just keep writing. You know, that was my main. With video battling, it became more difficult and more challenging because then I had to record my drops, and then when I'm on camera, I kind of feel like I have to perform them. So it was kind of giving me more practice on more aspects of live battling that, you know, obviously sharpened and helped everything that I've done since then, because half my career in live battling has been as a member of bars. So, I mean, I've done 8 battles. So I got into bars after my first 4, and now I've done 4 more with my 5th dropping very soon.
Yeah, man, that's dope as hell, man. I'm happy to see an MC, you know, come from a league like bars and actually prosper. Like, I see you, and I see Chrome, and I see a lot of in conflicts. I see a lot of MCs that are doing the same thing that you're doing. You know what I mean? And I'm just glad to help. You know what I mean? So now let's talk about the King of the Dot. Let's talk about your battles. Which ones were the hardest ones in your opinion? Like, I know I saw a couple. I've probably seen all your battles. I just don't remember who they were. I saw a couple of battles where you choked up, but I did see some great performances out of you. Let's talk about your battles that you did, and let me know which guys were the toughest opponents and what was going through your mind while battling them.
All right, well, King of the Dot, my very first battle was against Stevie G, Steve Garman. He was another dude who kicked ass on the island. So when Emotions saw my tape against Zoner and saw one of his battles, he decided to put us together on a card in Vancouver. Again, opening match, first battle, first up, and all that. And so I went in there, and you know, we both killed it. He had a wicked performance, especially his first round, me and Stevie G. I choked in the intro of my second round because I was trying to incorporate some bars from The Big Lebowski, which I just discovered was my daughter's favorite movie at the time, so I did some rewriting trying to incorporate some bars from that movie for her sake in the footage. However, I did that day, and that kind of taught me a lesson, a big fucking lesson, and that is to make sure that your bars are locked in and don't try to change shit. I tried changing shit, and I missed one bar, so I did 3 bars that didn't make any sense. I wasn't able to get the connector bar in there. So that started off my second round quite awkwardly, which kind of carried through the entire round. And then I had a stumble in my third round, but my material was strong enough to still get some votes from a couple of the judges. It was a 3-2 decision, which it ended up, again, being battle of the night. Everybody that went after us didn't compare to our performances and the laughter and the crowd reaction, and we got the most views. So that kind of solidified me and Stevie G as the new recruits into King of the Dot Vancouver. Then I had my choke battle, like the worst battle I've ever done, and it was against Willie B. Faithful, who's now the vice president of King of the Dot in Van City. He does all the bookings. He goes to fucking Boston. He's the admin of KOTD Talkback. He's a big ass deal in battle rap in Canada, and so it was me and him. And it was a big event. It was a big-ass event. Low Pesci and Sketch Menace were the main event. It was at the Red Room. It was a nice venue. Unfortunately, it was only 2 weeks away. And I was told by Emotions that, you know, he could put me on the next card for the next event, or he could put me in against Willie B. Faithful in the big event, the big venue. So I went for it. I said, no, put me in. 2 weeks is enough. And it wasn't. I've never had 2 weeks before. I've always had more than a month to get ready, but I tried my best. I wrote 3 rounds. I got 1 round off. That's my second round. But my first and my third were absolute write-offs. I got a few bars in and just died. and kind of blew my big moment with King of the Dot, because it was my sophomore effort with the league, and at a very big card, and there was a lot of rappers that wanted on that card that couldn't get on it, so it kind of felt like a wasted opportunity. And when you choke that bad in front of the big motherfuckers in King of the Dot, it can be it can destroy you. Like, I left the venue shortly after, you know what I mean? And there were some big names in that venue, and they had a wicked event, and they had some fucking historical footage from that event. Mine, unfortunately, was terrible. Willie B became a superstar, and he's been a superstar ever since, and now he's a big, huge deal in King of the Dot. But that didn't defer emotions. He hit me up right away. He said, "Listen, dude, chokes happen. I'm going to put you on the next card for a redemption battle, and that's my battle versus Mongers," which is kind of what catapulted me into where I'm at today, because I absolutely slaughtered that battle. Venable versus Mongers, people go check it out. And it was redemption, the way that it happens in battle rap. You have a shitty performance, then you come twice as hard and you redeem yourself, and that's exactly what I did against Mongers, and that was my fourth battle, third for King of the Dot. And that battle itself got me the attention of a couple other leagues in Ontario, and that's when I started battling elsewhere. I went to Thunder Bay, and I went up against their top rapper, Jordy Burns. He had like a 1 million view song called Hometown. He did a Bill Murray song, which was kind of a slant towards Sweatshop Union. He was a big name at the time. And I went into that battle. I fucking murdered him. And became, a top contender in the scene out in Thunder Bay. And then we had a King of the Dot squad tour event after that, and I was the main event again against their other top local rapper, who people actually liked. They liked this Chipenko kid more. Murdered him, won the championship for Thunder Bay, and after a couple battles was smoked out, I just went back to Thunder Bay as the champ to battle in a 2-on-2 versus a couple of twin brothers, and that footage is coming out very soon. I'm excited for Bars to see that battle, definitely.
Yeah, man, I'm excited as hell to watch that 2-on-2. It's going to be a different side of you, actually, see that you can play off your partner and all that shit. So I'm excited to see that. Let's talk about the Rocky Nelson battle. It was only a one-round battle, but I was proud to see both Bars MCs duke it out like that. It's the first time that's ever happened. I think it was cool as hell, and I still watch this battle like once a week. And I mean, I'm an avid battle watcher, so I watch a lot of King of the Dot, and I watch your guys at least once a week right now since it's dropped. So I'm just like, I'm happy to see both MCs pull out of the internet shit into battle there. So what were your thoughts going into it? Did you talk to Rocky afterwards? Did you guys build on a little bit of a relationship type shit? Do you guys still talk now? Is there any beef? Let us know what's going on. I mean, don't hold back. Let the fire go.
Okay, now Rocky Nelson versus Venable, that is a Bars battle. Without Bars, I can't say that I would have been, all up on the Rocky wave that he started. I met him, obviously, through Bars. I checked out his drops. He recognized me as someone who knows what he's talking about, so he was sending me his bars for his live battles at the same places that I battled at. And so we became, like, tight. We were homies, like, right from that. And now the event that we battled at, I had another opponent. His name was Chris Waters. He was actually a sponsor of the event. A terrible fucking rapper, but very enthusiastic and very passionate about what he is doing. And the league embraces and accepts this guy because, he loves the shit. You can't just turn people away because they can't rap. So I was asked to battle Chris Waters. So I wrote for Chris Waters. I wrote 3 rounds. I rehearsed these rounds. I was ready to go. I stayed away from dissing him online or trying to hype the battle up because he proved to be a very sensitive dude who would have temper tantrums online a lot. So I actually was political about this, and I kept my cool. However, lead up to the battle, people started doing prediction blogs, and so nobody saw him winning. Everybody had me 3-0ing him, so he decided to drop out of the battle 2 weeks before the battle event. So now, of course, I have 2 weeks and my opponent's gone, so I think that I'm done. However, when we started talking about replacements for me, that was the name that I had to put forward right away is Rocky. He's the homie. And the 1 round thing was my idea. That was my kind of stipulation. And that's because I had 2 weeks before and I choked. So I said, if I'm going to do 2 weeks, I'm just going to do 1 round. And you know, I'll definitely be down to stay on the card, because my name was already on the poster. And like, you know, so Rocky, we talked and I said, okay, 1 round, 4 to 5 minutes each, you know what I mean? And we both agreed on that. And then that was it. We didn't really talk too much. I had to get working on my shit. You know, I had some angles against him that I used, which was kind of, you know, it was effective, but it was also the path of least resistance. You know, I had to come up with something quick, you know, and so I did, and it was the hate pussy angle that I took on him. I also knew that, you know, I had to go second. So at the beginning of the battle, when we're doing the coin toss, like, that was my most, you know, stressful part of, because I knew he was going to fucking bar me to death and get the crowd going. And I also have crowd control with you know, easier kind of writtens and jokes and punchlines that, you know, are 1-2 setups. You know, he's going for the complicated wordplay and the metaphors and all that other shit. And so I knew that if I could get the last word on this and just make people laugh, that I would win, you know. So that worked out for me. So unfortunately for him, I went second. If it was reversed and I went first, he would have won that battle. That came down to the last, you know, impression on the audience. I believe it's a very debatable battle. You know, I 2 clashes of styles. You know what I mean? Like, of course, we're still homies. He's still the homie. We're still bros. Like, we don't have any hard feelings against that. But I mean, I do appreciate him stepping up. And I mean, Rocky is doing big things. His battle with me was just a stepping stone. You know, when his next battle dropped, this King of the Dot, ground 0. So he's above all the stuff that I've done. And I can't wait for that footage to drop. So of course there's no beef, there's no hate. I do know he is salty about the stuff. He doesn't share the battle too much. He doesn't want people seeing him lose or whatever. And I understand that, because I mean, I took the sneak attack approach, you know what I mean? And I went into that battle to win, you know, and I did what I had to do to win against Rocky. And nobody else would have won against him with what he had. But what I had, like I said, like, I've been around a lot longer than Rocky, than Chrome, and HD, and all those guys. Like, I've already been inside the pit, so I actually know what to do in there, you know what I mean, to win. And, you know, I kind of took an easier route against Rocky. You know, I went for the cheap shots, the cheap jokes, and that's why I won. But he's the homie, and just wait, he's going to be a huge problem very soon. He already is, actually.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be a problem. I see him progressing like crazy. And I wouldn't even classify him as a strictly bars guy. I'm just glad to have him part of bars, you know what I mean? Because he was bouncing around other leagues too, right? So at the end of the day, I'm just happy to see him succeed. And I'm excited to see his ground 0 too. I'm excited to see your footage as also. So like, let's take it back to like when you first started. You know what I mean? Let's talk about like a dude that wants to start doing live battles, trying to make a transition to from online to live battles. What kind of big fatherly advice would you give to an MC that's starting out their live shit? Because we see some bars MCs making that transition and they're doing it well. What are they doing that makes them transition well and to make it easier? Can you give a little bit of advice to the bars fans?
Alone, right? You've been rehearsing by yourself, and it sounds dope, and it's cool and all that. But as soon as you get on that stage, you know, you can blank out, you know, and you have to have safeguards for that. You know, you have to be prepared for distraction. You have to be prepared for lighting, for people not paying attention. Like, you need to be trained on all that. And being alone on your computer or on your phone inside of a room where no one bothers you is not going to prepare you for live battling. You have to take this shit outside your room, go to the living room, go to your friend's house, and show the people what you're doing. And, you know, learn to take feedback and learn to do this shit in front of people. So when you get up on that stage, you don't freeze up. I think that's the biggest thing that's holding rappers back is, you know, that unknown moment when you're live in front of people. You know, you have to be prepared. And you can prepare yourself for that. It's easy enough to do. And make no mistake, there's all kinds of writing circles up in the top tier. These rappers share bars, they rap together, they rehearse together. Like, Disaster will grab rappers to fucking sit in his room while he does his shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's important. You can't be afraid to let people see what you're doing before you actually do it. And a lot of times you're going to get some really stupid advice from people, and you just ignore that. You know what I mean? You have to be able to differentiate what you know is good and what other people don't know what's good. You know, that's the most difficult part about letting other people into your performance, is sometimes their feedback is whack, and that's because they're not battle rap fans. They're not seasoned enough to see it or hear it. But they're also important for you to get over that hump of being, you know, in front of people and on camera, you know, rapping, and you only get one take, one shot.
I've seen this a lot in battle rap too, where there's distractions at every single, you know, I remember I went to a beast mode battle and there's a fucking mirror. And I could see that, and even Locust will tell you, I told him the exact same thing when he was going to battle. I told him, don't look into the mirror. And what the battlers would do is the guy would be facing the mirror would be looking at himself in the mirror while he's battling. And you kind of get that deer in the headlights situation where you just fucking stop and you freeze. And that guy who was looking at himself in the mirror ended up choking that night, almost every round. So there are a lot of distractions, and I agree with you on that. Here's another question. What are the do's and don'ts in a battle rap thing? Like, you know, go out and get drunk, get a couple drinks in you. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Go out and get high. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Bring in your wife or your bitches. Bring in a crowd. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? You personally, what do you think about that?
Wow. Yeah, drinking and smoking and performing and battling. That's a case-by-case kind of a situation. There's no formula for everyone to follow. I actually incorporate weed and alcohol into my writing, rehearsing, and performing. Like I'll smoke and write. I'll have some drinks and write, and then when I start rehearsing, I'll start rehearsing sober, and then I'll start to smoke, and then I'll rehearse, and then I'll start to drink, and then I'll rehearse. And that's for me to find my sweet spot. Because let's face it, nobody wants to get up on stage sober. Although there are some rappers that do. You know, don't get me wrong. There are rappers that absolutely don't touch anything before, you know, till they're done their battle. But for me, I need to be in my sweet spot. And after trial and error, that sweet spot for me is, I'll smoke an hour, no more than an hour before I'm up, and I'll have like 4 or 5 drinks before I get up there. I've seen people get absolutely slaughtered, smashed, drunk, and then not be able to do their shit. I've seen people get smashed, drunk, and get up there and do better than I've seen them and do rehearsals. The best thing for people to do is find out what you can remember after how many drinks. Like I would have 1 beer, rehearse, 2 beer, rehearse, smoke a joint, rehearse, have 3 beer and a shot and rehearse. And then once I get to the point where I can't remember anything, or the shit that I'm writing now makes no sense, because I'll notice that the next day, I'll have an idea of, I can gauge how much I can drink or smoke before getting on stage. It sucks about being the main event, because you have to nurse 4 beer for the entire night before you get on stage. But being the undercard, you have a couple beer, get on stage, and you get smashed for the rest of the night. You know, I think everybody needs to identify their tolerance levels and, work and perform around that area. Find out, how many beers you can have before you forget something, or you have to look at your notes or whatever, Every rapper needs to figure that out, because you never know until you know. You get up there and figure out you're too smashed to fucking do your battle, then, you may not battle ever again, when all you needed to do was have a few less beer and you would have gone up there and performed the shit out of your material. You never know. But it is something that you need to address before your debut. Know how many beers to have, know if you should smoke or not before you get up there and do your thing. That's, one part of rehearsals that rappers don't know about, but that's actually incorporated in your rehearsals for these other guys and everyone else that wants to battle live. Bringing people to the event, you need to coach your people, because you're a battle rapper. Your friends are not. Your family are not. A lot of times their only exposure to battle rap or the battles that you put on, and I experienced that with these twins that I just, went up against. They have a huge following because they're twin brothers who rap. I mean, of course, people are going to be attracted to that. But a lot of these people have no idea what King of the Dot is, who Pat Stay is, who Organic is. All they know is that they've watched these people battle, and they've loved everything that they've done. So, like, these people will be overly biased in the crowd. They will, like, boo good bars from the other guy, and then they will over-cheer on a weak bar from the people that they're there to see. So if you're going to bring people to the battle, of course, bring as many as you can. We need the money, but try to teach them to not overreact and then go against the other person, because what you can end up doing is fucking up your footage. You know what I mean? I've seen battles where the whole entire bar makes loud noise for the weakest fucking rhyme, and that's because that was all their friends and family trying to support their dude. Which, once again, is cool as fuck. And, like, they're buying drinks, they paid the door. I mean, they're making the event happen. But at the same time, you want to have replay value. You don't want people saying, yeah, I like the way everyone cheered for your weak-ass shit and booed the guy, actually, that had bars that, isn't from there and didn't have a whole bunch of people in the crowd. So, yeah, you can have a great night in the building, but then when that tape drops, it's going to look like crap, and you're not going to get any replay value. No one's going to watch that battle again when your people are, fucking up the footage. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yeah, you can have a great night and go, yahoo, everyone loved me, but then you watch it back on tape, it's like, yeah, I wish they didn't reply to that fucking stupid bar that I did that they thought was great, but actually wasn't. So, inform your crowd, show them some battles, and bring them into the culture, with some experience before they go and cheer you on.
You hit the nail right on the head there, buddy. Like, 100%, I agree with you, because, like, I've been to battles events before, and I've seen people just fly off the handle over the weakest shit. And again, that just makes the footage look whack and makes the battle look whack, and it's just not a good look. I've also seen, people bringing their family members into the battle event, and the family members would get offended that the other MC would say that shit to them, and then, like, kind of like downplay the guy's round, and it's just not a good look for the scene. On to our next question. We got to go with top 5, and we're talking about top 5 battle rappers. Who's your top 5 mainstream battle rappers today?
All right, well, top 5s are hard. They always change, but of course I've been following Jonai, Psychosis, definitely. Excel, definitely been watching Excel. Shoddy P, Chrome, I mean, they're both tied for whatever spot I'm putting them at right now, or be it 3rd or 4th. I always fucks with Bender. I love Bender's swag, his intelligence, his fearlessness. I fucks with the pissed off Pat Stay, when he's mad at the fans and he puts on just to piss them off. I love that shit. I'm definitely watching Megadeth. The Erics are on my radar as well. And that dude that battled Frack, and that fat dude that fucking blew smoke in his face. I fucks with him too.